So you guys are like making coin in this food storage business, right, Jason?
It was never about making a lot of money. What we're here for is to help people out.
Not so much. Slim margins?
That's correct.
On most of this stuff.
That's true. We try to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to buy what we believe they need.
But you got to stay in business. You got to make money.
That's true.
Volume, perhaps.
Yeah, we try to help out and help. The more people that obviously come in, the better off we'll be. So.
Roger that. I think actually they stay in business by selling these $5.95 whisks. That's a real profit item, no doubt.
They're good whisks. You should try one.
By the way, that's a good price on that whisk. I'm just saying. Most everything when I first came to Honeyville, no joke, I came here, I was like, I'm kind of tuned into the gear world, the preparedness world. I can tell immediately when a store has good value. You guys have good value.
Thank you.
On most everything you sell. I'm walking down, I was kidding about that, but I am serious. It's a good barometer for what a store is charging. I go into some other preparedness stores, I can immediately tell they're ripping people off.
Sure.
And it's usually low quality stuff they're selling.
Yeah, we don't do any of that.
Well, there's a little bit of that here. I'm talking the preparedness stuff.
That's true. We're here to, like I was saying before, we're here to try to make sure people get what they need to be prepared.
Let me go back to the point I just made about that preparedness stuff. Let's walk over here real quick, Jace. We're putting him on the spot here.
He loves it.
Yeah, buddy. I was making fun of some of this stuff, but there's a reason why. Actually, this is actually not too bad, but like this, multi-function plier. The reason that's on the shelf is because most people don't want to go out and spend $50, $75 on a multi-tool.
Right.
They don't even, they're just like, well, do I need one? Kinda. They're not gear guys like we are. So what you're seeing is them meeting the demand that most people want.
Right, and putting it at a price that people can afford.
Yeah.
Because most people that are going to come in aren't like going to use that big, heavy-duty tool.
Yeah.
But if they have something like this that they can afford and they can put in their kit, that's better than nothing, I promise.
Yeah.
And it's going to make sure you have a couple of
You got something
to do something with.
So it is a reality, an economic reality of people. Like this light here, you guys know I'm a lighting snob. I like high power lighting products. Most people aren't. Nor do they want to roll in and see, I don't know, a 4.7's light on there for $56.
Yeah.
Because they need to buy this.
Right.
They can't. They're like, man, I need a logo balloon, man. I need a toilet.
That's correct.
I don't need a $70 multi-tool. So there you go. There's a few realities. Hey, Lisa, here we come again. All right, guys, I'm going to do a flyby. Thank you, Jason. We're going to do a flyby on this. Textured vegetable protein. Is it any good? It sounds nasty.
I grew up in the 60s and 70s. Does that tell you how old I am? And my mother had 8 children, and to extend meals, she would use TVP quite often. I didn't like TVP, but I must say that the TVP now has been increased in its quality, its flavor. There's lots of different options. We have a lot of vegetarians that really like being able to have some of those meals that everybody else is using. I've used it in meals that people didn't know it wasn't real meat, that it's there. So if I can change from that mindset of the 70s,
but that's because you cooked it and you are a cooking guru as well. I'm not kidding, right?
Right.
How about most of your customers? The ones that are using this stuff regularly, are they going with TVP? Or are they up to go into much more expensive freeze-dried meats?
We have both. We have a regular blogger that comes to a lot of our classes. She's phenomenal. She's a vegetarian. Her family is not. And so obviously this is a way that they can complement that for each other. It's good to, again, not put all of your money into one thing. I have TVP so that I have that option if I'm looking at long-term, because it can store so much longer, doesn't need to be refrigerated. There are different options that I can use with that. If I have the real meat and the different things that I want to do with that, that's a great option to have. But if you look at the range of flavors within TVP, I've got taco meat, I've got chicken, I've got ham, I've got all the different options, plus just the plain that I can use. So that's always good to have on hand.
Look at the price difference too. So you're at $11 a can here for TVP, and again, if you go with something like this, it's $45 a can for real meat. So
just another case in point, it's never too expensive to store. If it's something you want to start with TVP, have that, and as you're working up to different things, we watch sales, we watch different things that are going on. I try to be as cost conscious as anybody else. So we, again, have different options of what we can do with that.
What do you always say? You say buy a can. How does that go?
Buy a case if you can, and a can if you can't.
Oh, I like that.
So if the case sales are coming on and you can afford a case, buy a whole case. When tomatoes go on sale, we eat a lot of tomatoes at our house. And so I watch the sales. I'll buy cases when I can. But if I can't, buy a can. At least get something so that you have a little more on hand of extras of things that you would eat and that you can use on a regular basis.
Okay, and if you, for instance, wanted to buy this freeze-dried ham, you actually have edible and actually pretty good food right in that. You could, let's say you got nothing else, and you have that, you could reconstitute it and season it as you wanted, cook it up. Awesome.
Like I said with the ramen noodles. Buy the ramen noodles to start with. My husband will add a scoop of the freeze-dried chicken. If we have leftover meat, he'll add the meat into that ramen noodles. And then he uses a scoop of our veggie mix. It has corn, peas, carrots, tomatoes, and peppers.
Can we go over and look at that right now?
You bet. Right back over here.
Teach the folks, look at the variety they have of freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. And we've tried, not most, but a lot of what you're seeing right here. Like the peas, excellent. We just cooked those the other night, reconstituted them. Not quite like fresh peas, but pretty close.
Yep, that in that kind of
Pretty
situation
close.
when you want to be able to have that as
Absolutely.
opposed to our carrots are a puffed carrot, which means in the drying process they are dehydrated with the bake, but they're puffed with oxygen. And so you can eat them straight out of the can. We know a lot of other places that have carrots. They are little rocks that you don't necessarily, it takes a long time to soak them and get them ready to put into something. Our carrots have that oxygen process in it that makes them great.
Okay, and you were talking about your mixed vegetable. Mm-hmm. There you go. Is that a good one for guys and gals to get?
That's a great one. Like I said, that's my husband's favorite. He puts in a scoop of that, a scoop of meat, and with the ramen noodles, he adds the bouillon that we have here that doesn't have the MSG and the high sodium. One little packet of the bouillon over here is equal to 142 bouillon cubes. That's a big difference with about an eighth of the sodium. So you want to be able to have that kind of health nutrition when you can. So if I've got those ramen noodles, which is a comfort food for a lot of people, and then they have the veggie mix, add a little meat if you can. If you don't, you can go without that for that time. But you've got that nutrition value in there.
So there you go. You just came out with 3 cans I could buy and I would have a food storage.
You bet.
So mixed vegetable, or I'm sorry, the freeze-dried vegetable mix. Mm-hmm. Where's your ramen stuff? Is it stored up? Or you're just saying generally, you just buy ramen. How long will that store?
Ramen noodles is usually 2 to 3 years.
What if I put it in a bucket of some sort and put some oxygen packs in it?
Always extends the life. You can.
Okay,
Again,
cool.
you'd use your 3 senses. If it looks okay, if it smells okay, if it tastes okay. One thing people need to understand about nutrition labels on the back of cans, that's a great thing to understand, that when there's an expiration date, that's so that it complies with what is on the nutrition label. You may open it 2 years after that expiration date. Again, use your 3 senses. If you can look at it, smell it, and taste it, it may only have 60% of the nutrient on there, but 60% of nutrient value is better than nothing.
Blows away starving.
Exactly. So people say, oh, the expiration date, it was passed, so we threw it all away. It just makes me want to cry because there are people all over the world and in your neighborhood that would be able to use that so easily. So don't throw it away if the expiration date is passed. Open it, look at it, smell it, taste it.
Kind of sounds like discussions we've had in our family. This is someone who wants to get rid of it, and I'm like, it's still good.
2005 soup.
So?
Okay, you can
If
eat
the
it.
cans-
I'm not
I
going
mean-
to open it.
I was going to say, open it,
Yeah,
look
we'll
at
have
it,
opened it,
smell
yeah.
it, taste it.
The 3 senses, we're going to add a 4th, and that is, would Allie eat it?
That's
Yeah.
true. Tactical
Black
Doodle
Lab.
keeps eating stuff, though, from out of this food storage that's old.
Yeah,
you
we
go.
do try to rotate it. I think most people do. I'm talking with standard foods like canned foods.
Yep.
But that is a project. You're constantly pulling from wherever you're storing your food, integrate it into your daily life. If your daily life is like that, some people not so much. And that's, again, why I like the freeze-dried option, because
A lot of people look at
it's
their
there
food-
forever.
A lot of people look at their food storage kind of like car insurance. They pay it hoping never to use it. So if I pay my premium once a year, I'm hoping I never use that because it's going to cost less the next time. Same thing with food storage. They buy it, they put it in their basement, hoping they'll never have to use it. They really don't care what it tastes like. We want you to use it. It tastes that good. We've got cheeses and butter and all kinds of things so that you are eating the food that you know and using it on a day-to-day basis.
Excellent.
Is this
What you got?
Because it's dehydrated. Is this what you got the other day?
Oh,
You
those
love?
are awesome.
He has eaten these like every day since we bought them like 3 days ago.
Well, I'm getting ready for the video too, but
I know, but
they
you
are,
love
I want to
them.
know and
He-
have some experience with this.
Loves these, and they used to sell them in the grocery store, like in a little, cardboard box. But they got rid of that particular one that he liked.
It was Betty Crocker. Here we go with specifics. T and Piers are laughing. It was Betty Crocker potatoes. They were hash browns, and they changed the quality level. It was like night and day. They went to some different process, and it was nasty, Lisa.
Okay.
So I quit buying them. And so I was like, when we were here doing the store preview last week, I was like, whoa, they have these. Took them home. These are like the great quality potatoes.
You soak them in that hot water for 20 minutes. They cook up. They are great.
You know how I do it? I take a handful of these. I throw it in the frying pan. Guys are going to know that I'm just like, am I a chef in the house or
Yes.
what? So I throw those in.
He's the cook.
I am the cook. So I throw those in there. I'll eyeball the amount of water, and I'll put in some, where's your dehydrated onion?
Right here.
Right here. So I bought a can of this, and I take a probably, I don't know, tablespoon, seasoned to taste, put that in, a little bit of butter and salt and pepper, and cook it right on the stove. I don't even pre-soak it.
Wow.
And does it turn out awesome or what?
Yep, they were good.
It is perfect. So this is a great food storage option. Great. And you guys watching this,
Need to
I
get more,
recommend you
but-
just buy as many of these as you can store. Look how light they are too. What were you gonna say, hun?
I was just going to ask her a question because you gave us the quiche, but I would like to put that on the bottom.
Well, and that's the
Would that
nice
be
thing
fine?
with again, switch it
Be
to
like
what you
too
do.
soggy
Some
or
people,
whatever. I think that would be good.
when
She's
I
talking
have-
about putting the hash brown potatoes in the bottom of the quiche so you have kind of a potato layer
with the
in
quiche, it doesn't have a crust, but you could always put a crust. You could put a potato. You could do any of that kind of stuff to create what you eat. Because it's on the recipe does not mean if you don't do it exactly, it's going to fail. We want you to taste it, tweak it, do the things that you do so that your family will eat it. I have friends that are vegetarians, so I made that same quiche as a vegetarian. The recipe is for feeding 6 to 8 people. If you're wanting to do less, we do them in pint jars. You just cut the recipe in a third, and you can put it all, it'll fit into a pint, and you've got it that feeds 2 to 3 people. It's a great thing to have on hand.
Potatoes, highly recommended here in the Nutnfancy project. Those will store for a long time.
Long time.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and also look at the weight of what you're storing. A lot of the bottled items, I mean, it's great, but man, is it heavy. So I've seen shelf systems with people who have bottled things sagging. They fall down during an earthquake. They all
Always
crack
make sure that you've
and
got
they
it
get
well
destroyed.
supported. Yep.
Another advantage to freeze-dried number 10 cans.
Well, and I've said if I had to hunker down in my house, I would be set for a lot. I won't tell you how long, but
At
a
least 2
long
weeks.
time. At least 2 weeks.
And you ought to see her weaponry. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. I'm kidding.
My pellet guns. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'll feed them food. But if I had to hunker down, I'm set. But if I had to get up and leave my home, that was a real concern to me. A lot of bottled meats, a lot of things that I do. So that's the nice thing about having freeze-dried. Like you said, the weight, it's movable. I can get those quickly. If I have meals in the jars and meals in the bag, I can pick those up and leave and have that set and ready to go.
Now remember what we talked about in part 1, the food, not the food, but the water storage is critical. So we're going to go to an external water supply if we can. We'll filter it, purify it. But if we don't have that, especially for you guys living in really hot desert environments, you better have some water stored up.
Exactly.
Otherwise, all of this doesn't count. Do not count on a municipal water supply. It could shut down on you, become contaminated. If you don't think so, go ask the hurricane folks.
Yep.
Every time. It's not trustable. They'll come out with a notification, a warning, do not drink the water. It's not safe, and it may stay that way for a long time.
Well, and even the quiche that we gave you, all you do with that is add 2.5 cups of water. So when I store mine, I do meals in a bag. And in the bag, I have that jar with the quiche in it, but I also have my water set and ready to go that I'm not dependent on anything else. So I can grab that, I have it ready to mix and go together.
Okay. Now, I'm working with Honeyville Corporate to make this available on an internet ordering basis.
Perfect.
I don't know if you guys are going to sign off on that, so don't give me heat for it, TMPers. You give Honeyville heat. Okay, so I'm trying. I'm pushing as hard as I can. I was like, hey, I want my TMPers to be able to order this in case lots or number 6 cans, ship it to wherever you guys are at. I'm pushing for that. I'm still waiting to hear from them. So in annotation right here at this point, I'll tell you what the status is on that. for right now, it might be you have to go into their stores and order it. I know. I'm trying.
Can I show you another
Give me a
thing
break.
that I love?
Please do.
This is the Gosner shelf-stable milk. Again, things that you want to be able to have on hand so that you can live the life that you need. I have chocolate milk, I have regular milk, and I have whipping cream. This whipping cream is one of my favorites. Okay, so this is shelf-stable. This one expires February of 2013. Gosner said in order to comply with this, they have to put an expiration date. It's actually good for about a year past that date. And if it goes past that, I can open this, put it in a blender, mix it up, add a little salt. I have the best tasting butter, fresh butter, that you could want.
Whoa, stop. So you're making butter from that?
Where does butter come from? Not the
I'm not a smart
hydrogenated
man,
stuff that
but I
at the
think
grocery
it
store
comes
with
from
all
cream.
the things they add to it. But I keep this down in my basement. I always keep one in my fridge because isn't it always on an afternoon people drop by and you want whipped cream on top of something and you have to go to the store, or it's gone bad that's sitting in your fridge. Some of the different things. This is something you can have on hand, and you can have whipped cream, or we make ice cream with it. This and the whole milk, best ice cream you could have. So again, you can have these kinds of things ready, able to go. We've got half and half, the whole milk, the 2%, but it's ready so that you can have that. Doesn't need refrigeration. The powdered milk is great. There are some people that like that, some people don't. This is another option of things that you can have on hand. And so when you think of storage, it doesn't always have to be dry and tasteless. Ours, some of it's dry, but it's full of flavor, and then we have the other things that we can complement to that.
Okay, story time. Powdered milk is nasty. Here's why I say that. Because I was raised by a father who raised us on powdered milk, and we hated it. And he would buy this Land O'Lakes powdered milk that when you mixed it up, it had kind of a greenish tint to it. It wasn't horrible. It was drinkable. But when I got my own money and I earned my own money, you know what I went out and bought? Tell him, hun.
Milk. How sad. You were little.
I did.
Like 7 and 8 years old.
I would buy
Saving
milk.
up his money. But the thing is,
milk,
when he would take it home, guess who would drink the milk? His dad. That's right.
That's true.
It's awful.
So, and my dad, I mean, when I grew up, we grew up probably lower middle class. We didn't have a lot. And I was raised on Buddig lunch meats. He had wheat bread, honey, and we'd have powdered milk. And that's pretty much was our diet, and it sucked. That's why I look the way I do. I was nutritionally starved growing up. What were you going to say, Lisa?
We had a cow, and my parents would try and mix powdered milk with the cow milk. Ruined you for life. So I'm right there with you.
Okay.
So it's good to, again, to have the options of what you need in that kind of situation. Unless you have a cow or a goat sitting in your backyard, which might be part of your preparation things.
We milk Allie.
Our black lab.
There's no way. She was fixed early on. She's never had pups. I will say that the powdered milk is better than it was back then. They have improved the quality a lot in the last few decades.
Powdered milk. You can have the milk alternative, which has whey or not. We have the different kinds. We have the dry milk that is just milk that has been processed. So there are different kinds of milk that people buy. So be sure and check on that. We also have the chocolate milk and the strawberry milk. We have things with that, so that there are options of what you want. Especially if you've got children, you want to make sure that they have that calcium, the different ways that they can get that in those kinds of situations.
Let me tell you this, in Europe, this is very popular, and it has been for many, many years. And they have tried several times to convert people in the United States to long-term shelf-stable milk, and it's just never taken. For whatever reason, Americans, I know why. It was we like fresh stuff, and we have a country that we have a huge bounty of dairy products. At least it's been that way. Vegetable products, meat products, and so when you put this on the shelf to an American, they go, no, I want to go buy that. But I've seen it over the years. I'm trying to do it, and every time it has not been successful. The point of this is actually very good.
It is very good.
Once you refrigerate it, you're going to have a hard time. We're not talking about powder milk here. We're talking about shelf-stable milk. You can't tell the difference in a lot of cases.
I would put their whipped cream up against just about anybody. Again, it tastes great. And when I do my meals in the bag, sometimes I have the whole dessert, including the whipping cream. So I'm not going to go deficient in a situation. We'll still have the food that we want, the food that we eat. You know, in a bag I may have a gingerbread mix, some freeze-dried bananas, and some whipping cream. I have gingerbread with bananas and whipped cream on top. What are you eating? So.
Yeah, I remember you were telling us about your dessert. It sounds so good. We'll talk about your angel cake when we get back to the kitchen. So consider this. That's good. This is probably one of my favorite sections of Honeyville right here. They put together, guys, are you listening to me? If not, listen, this is important. They put together some of the best hot chocolates known to mankind, and it is proprietary. It's not anybody else's but their own. This is one of my favorites. El Mexican style hot chocolate. It is excellent. Where's the one with the freeze-dried marshmallows in it?
The mother load.
The mother
It's not one of
load.
these.
Is that it?
Or is it not? Oh, right
This
here.
one right here. And this is a small can. You can get the number 10 big one. Can't you? I don't see it on the shelf here though.
Right now.
Not right now. It's sold out. All this stuff is excellent. I haven't tried their smoothies though.
They're to die for.
Are they? They're excellent. So would you recommend, putting a little bit of that in your food storage so you have that variety and that flavor?
We do. We use it in all kinds of things. Again, when we talk about meals in the bag and things, we make breakfast packs, oatmeal packs, better than the kind you buy on the store, those little packets. We can make our own. We do some killer ones of an orange roll or peaches and cream, and we use the smoothie mix in those. So it's different things that bring it together that make it really taste good. Obviously, people would get tired of drinking water after a certain amount of time. You can store all that water,
Yeah.
but how are you going to use it? So if you have the hot cocoa mix and the things that really create that variety of taste for your family, it keeps much more of a sense of calm. If people have the food that they know,
Well said.
they'll stay much calmer. And I have the option of what my family eats. After the tsunami, right after I came to be with Honeyville, the tsunami hit Japan. And I told people, they don't walk up to you and say, did you want the chicken or the beef? And if you said, oh, I'm gluten intolerant, let me get that box. They hand you a box, and that's your life. So the more you're an asset rather than a liability. If I can take care of my own family and be an asset, rather than being a liability to my neighbors and the different things, I have that benefit. And knowing that we eat the food that we know already, I'm not dependent on that for anybody else.
The quality of Honeyville stuff is such that you're almost hoping something kicks off so you can eat it.
We're eating it all the time. What do you mean? We're eating it now.
I know. We're actually, I'm being a little bit facetious, but not much. But honestly, the stuff is really good.
Well, in the quiche you had over the weekend, we had both the Monterey Jack and the Colby in there. So 2 kinds of cheese. This is shredded cheese. It's great. You have a couple of options. You can throw it in dry into soup. So if I do a taco soup, I can throw it in
Yep.
there. We've done pizza in the Dutch oven. We've just thrown it in, and it reconstitutes in the sauce. And so it makes the best pizza when you've got that sauce or your cheese dripping into the...
So you're saying this cheese is actually pretty good. It's not
great.
nasty.
The other thing I can do is use a colander, hold it under the water, and then let it fluff a little bit. I can put my shredded cheese on a salad or anything else that keeps that shape. It's wonderful.
Have you served it to people that did not know it was freeze-dried cheese?
I do all the time.
So you're one of those tricky chefs that people are eating this like, what is this? And you're like, it's freeze-dried goat, guys. I'm
But
just
isn't
saying.
that great that I'm not limited to what I can grab something off the shelf, and I have different kinds of cheeses, I have different kinds of fruits or vegetables that I can whip you if you showed up at my house. I could make you something quickly because it doesn't have to be dependent on if it's out of my freezer thawed, if it's fresh, it's everything else. I've got all of that ready that I can make you something that you would want, and if
But
you've got limitations.
You are skilled. You are skilled and you know the system. So we want to transfer that corporate knowledge from you
Yes.
into the camera and actually to other people who are nearby.
I know. To me,
We will teach her. We will teach
But
her.
I need to remember all that.
But I really, all these things you're throwing out, you're talking about doing breakfast packs. I know my guys are going to want, they're going to say, we'll talk about that in a sec.
Yes.
That you're going to say, they're watching, they're like, well, I want to know how to do that. So we need to give that information to them so they have these easy to follow recipes. You said a recipe book is coming out in January. Mm-hmm. Will all those things be in there?
You bet. It's with Chef Tess, and it uses almost all of our products and things, capabilities of the meals in the jar, the breakfast. It's her breads. She's well known for her breads. She's a master chef, and so putting that together with the things that we do here, it's a great compliment to bring her with Honeyville. She is a great
She sounds
representative.
awesome.
So,
But how about Chef Lisa and the stuff you've been doing with your family that you do all the time?
all the time.
And all these little bottle meals, which we're going to show you here. Hang on. We want that knowledge given to everyone.
Okay.
Because it's so cool because you can buy, let's just say we'll be generous, 6 number 10 cans. Maybe you buy cheddar cheese, some of the potatoes we showed you, the ham,
Little
some
fruit and vegetables.
the mixed vegetables, maybe some peas, and then you're going to just measure it and put it in a bottle,
Seal it up.
seal it
it's
up
ready
with an
to go.
oxygen absorber.
Put a little label on there. Maybe
5 years
for
from now, you
gifts.
make it and it's awesome.
I give them as wedding gifts, baby gifts, that they can have that on hand. a lot of us have been asked to take meals into somebody. I've been able to walk up. I'm kind of busy. I think we all are. And I can hand it to them and say, make this when you're ready. Just add 2.5 cups of water. You're ready to go.
What a great, and that's what we're giving a lot for Christmas this year, right?
Yep.
Is we're going to make meals in a bottle from Lisa. It was her idea. She taught us.
But we do things like Thai noodles. We've got all kinds of things, chicken noodle soup. We've got things that are great tasting and that have the ingredients and the flavor that you like, not what I like, what you like. And so that's the great thing. And also with that range, when you look at the fruits and vegetables, the pineapple is fabulous. The dried grapes, they're red
They are
grapes
really good.
that are just, you look at that, you don't have to be deprived thinking you're just going to eat this dried, horrible stuff. We want you to eat the things that, I make a turkey tetrazzini with that freeze-dried asparagus. I sneak that in. People don't know that it's freeze-dried.
I'm sure you do that all the time. Nothing surprises me from you. Here, I'm going to do a quick shelf flyby so you can kind of see what they have. Freeze-dried asparagus. Ugh. But see, I'm not an asparagus guy.
We haven't made the right thing for you yet. We can make it.
Having eaten what you cook, I would put some credence in that. All the freeze-dried fruits are going to be expensive, guys. That's the way it is. In fact, a lot of these prices, this one's $24. Snapshot in time, this is going to fluctuate up and down, but a lot of it has to do with the economy.
But cup for cup, it's cheaper. Cup for cup over a fresh plat of blackberries, this is actually cheaper. And
I believe you.
can determine when you want to use it and how.
Doesn't go bad. As opposed to you just bought whatever amount of, heck, strawberries, and how many times have we done that and we go and they're totally rotten because we didn't
Every
use them in
time
time.
I don't buy them anymore.
So this way, they're there when you need it.
I can use the freeze-dried to make jam if I need to. I can make all kinds of options with this that open it to so many possibilities that people don't think that it has to be fresh or frozen. If I buy a plat of fruit from a co-op and I can get a good price on that, but then I have to decide, am I going to process it? Am I going to freeze it? What am I going to do with that? With this, it can sit on my shelf till I'm ready to use it.
You don't have an immediate project.
Nope.
But the prices on some of these, I mean, they're up there. But then again, freeze drying, is that an expensive process?
So is non-GMO fruit on the fruit stand.
Yeah.
Very expensive. So
And it is
you get what you pay
GMO.
for.
Yeah, so it's high quality, and also gas prices go a lot into that. Because I remember watching these over the years, as gas went up, all food goes up because transportation costs go up to get it from the grower to the processor to you. So welcome to what I call the new American energy prices. There you go. Another flyby. You should definitely have these. Definitely have these. These are excellent. Freeze-dried mangoes are good. Freeze-dried bananas. The apples are good too. Do you have sliced variety? Because not yet.
Nope.
Okay.
These are, some have the Granny Smith or the more tart, some of the different things, and they're different varieties. You showed the dehydrated onions. We also have freeze-dried. Dehydrated are, again, with that bake process, those are yellow onions. Our freeze-dried are with white onions. So if you look at the differences of what you can do, again, some people have a preference of a yellow onion over a white onion. We can give you that option. We have the same with celery. We have both dehydrated and freeze-dried. So
You're telling me last week that some things freeze dry better, some things dehydrate better,
as
something
they
like
perfect
that?
that process over time, there are things that it was all the option you had was dehydrating in the past. Through all the ages of time, that dehydrating was something they can do. Now we have that manufacturing process. People ask if they can freeze dry at home, and if you have about $500,000 for that account or for that machine to have in your home, you go for it. But we'll do it for you. And so with that process, there are some things that would not lend themselves to dehydrating. Some things haven't as naturally done it to freeze drying, but as they get that process even better perfected, they're able to take on more different options of food, its availability, cost value, the different things that they can get with that determines it.
Root vegetables like carrots, potatoes, best freeze-dried or dehydrated?
Well, they're finding in different things, if you look at our carrots, they are dehydrated, but they have that oxygenation puff that goes into that. We now have the sweet potatoes, and the sweet potatoes are freeze-dried, so they're getting that process down so that you can have those freeze-dried potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Let me guess, you can make about 40 awesome desserts from that.
I put them into cakes, I put them into all kinds of things. You can throw that nutrition value, and if I can throw beans in place of oil, what do you think I can do with sweet potatoes?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Come on.
Magical.
Yeah.
Magical. These are awesome. Freeze-dried bell peppers that it just
But
will
all
just...
3 colors.
Yes.
You've got yellow, red, and green in there. You open it, it smells like peppers, it tastes like peppers, they're visually good, all of those kinds of things.
Last time I checked, too, peppers are kind of expensive at the grocery store.
Yep. So again, when you get it on that sale price, you're paying that lower price. When I buy things years ago, I can open that and feed my family for much less today than I could buying it fresh. And so if prices are only going to go up, you want to make sure that you have the ability to feed your family the food that they know and how they can do that.
All of this stuff store in a cool, dry place. In fact, you will lengthen the storage life the more you are able to do that. If you put it in somewhere that's hot, maybe it sees 130 degree temperatures in whatever closet you've chosen, what happens?
Cooler environment, darker environment gives for a better storage life for any type of food product.
Do the best you can on that.
Yep.
These are huge bags of Idaho grown potato flakes. I probably wouldn't store them in bags like that. If your family eats a lot of those potatoes, maybe go to the storage systems we've talked about. Okay?
You bet.
And if you live a place where there's rodents, all these bags could be a problem.
You wouldn't have them for very long, would
Yeah.
you?
You
You'd
would-
have big fat rats and mice at your house and
That's right.
no potatoes for you.
So just a little thought there.
Little thing there.
Here's some cases, guys. This is how cases look when there's 6 number 10 cans in that. What's that saying again? Case if you can.
Case if you can and a can if you can't.
Okay, tomato powder. Is that good to have?
Great alternative. I've dehydrated my own tomatoes, grind them into powder, and the time and effort it takes for the price of that can is phenomenal.
And that is a versatile thing to have because you can make soups, chili, which I just showed you my chili recipe, cooked on camera. And by the way, when I was doing that, I did a demo for them, cooking my chili recipe. I was using fresh ingredients, but everything that we see here is available.
Right.
Everything. The ground beef you saw already, the tomato powder is right here, so you can reconstitute that and make tomato sauce out of it.
Noodles over on the next aisle. We have the seasonings. We use the Wayzata spices,
Uh-huh.
which are fresh ground when they send it to us. When I put the order in, they blend it to send to us, and they're bigger grinds, so they don't break down so quickly again. And they use distinct variations in their blends. A lot of companies use 4 or 5 basic spices in a blend, and then they take out 1 or 2 and put in 1 or 2 and call it a whole new one. Wayzata is the Culinary Institute approved.
Say that real slow so people can get that brand name.
Wayzata.
And that's a brand of
It's
spices.
Wayzata.
Can we go look at those real quick?
You bet. Jay and Jane Bunting are the owners. It's back in the Midwest, and they ordered them just for us. They are a great selection of different kinds.
So you say this is better than what you would normally buy in your store. What's the brand?
McCormick or
yeah.
Shilling or some of the others.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites, but we have things like the lemon juice powder, the lime juice powder, we have teriyaki sauce, we have soy sauce powder, vinegar powder, different things so that, down here, vanilla powder, so that you have the kinds of things, wine powder. Get that, put that in there. Have some
I
great
like
things.
that.
Plus our chef has her own blend. And Wayzata blends those for us, but they're right here on her line. She has some great blends to put together that she has spent a lot of time doing that. We carry the Loran oils and vinegars.
I have no idea what these are about.
Okay, an emulsion, let me give you a really quick rundown. This is a rum emulsion. When you buy rum extract, it's made with an alcohol base, which when you cook with it, part of that alcohol bakes out, but so does part of the flavor. An emulsion is a water-based, and so the almond flour or the almond flavoring stays almond. It's beautiful. The rum is beautiful. And so we've got those kinds of things that when you're putting into things, we have the oil-based ones over here. We have our granulated honey. We have different kinds of honeys and flavorings. We have the Redmond salt. All the kinds of things that you want to have your long-term storage of your fruits, vegetables, meats, but you need to season it. You want it to taste good. And so we try and have top quality items that you can season with. We use strictly the Shirley J bouillon because it is such a great thing to have. You only need half. If a recipe calls for a teaspoon of bouillon, you can use a half of the Shirley J because it has that good of a flavor. And like I said, this size of chicken bouillon is 142 bouillon cubes.
That's good value for $8.79.
That is a great thing.
Do I need to do anything with this stuff if I buy it and put it in storage, or will it store just like it comes off the shelf?
Just like that.
How long?
5. They're telling us 25 years.
20 to 25 years, so I get this and I'm good to go.
You are good to go.
Okay, to me that should be a staple.
Flavor is excellent. This is their Whisk Bliss. This is equal to 24 cans of creamy condensed soup. But I have all kinds of ways to use that as a soup base, as an Alfredo, all kinds of things that you have that kind of capability. We use that in a lot of our meals in the jar.
I have seen it in your recipes.
Yep.
It's called Whisk
It's a
Bliss.
It's their universal
say it?
sauce and a cooking base. So all kinds of things. We have those. We have our muffin mixes, our pancake mixes. We're quite well known for our muffins and our scones. The scones have taken all kinds of awards.
And we're talking, yeah, your own mix. It's a Honeyville branded mix. It's really high quality.
Secret recipe. Yes.
Secret.
I'd go for that right now.
We've baked them up for all kinds of people. You can bake them, you can fry them, so you've got different options of ways to use that. This is the Cornabees, which is a great, the Ultra Gel, which is a thickener. You can use it hot and cold. So I have done it where I've had a roast or a stew in my crock pot cooking. I push the vegetables to the side. I just mix this straight in. I've got my gravy ready to go. I turn around, I have a fruit platter ready to go, or on a tart. I've taken a can of nectar. I've added some of this to it. I have a glaze ready to go over the top.
How about, is it better than cornstarch when we're talking soups and
it's
stews?
a modified maize starch. It's made in Utah, so it's a great product. We know the people that do it. It can be used hot or cold. The thick
it's
gel,
powder.
Yep.
Okay,
the
cool.
thick gel has to be used in a cooking base, but the Ultra Gel you can use hot or cold, directly in whatever you want to do. If I put it in my whipping cream, if you've ever had whipping cream and it starts to separate or it cries, you know, it gets the water on it, this won't. It will stay beautifully.
By the way, TMPers, if your wife is not watching this, your girlfriend not watching this with you, you need to go back, watch part 1, and catch her up to speed, because this is a family video that I think everybody in your family should be watching, paying
We have a whole
attention to.
section
This
of gluten.
this rocks, by the way. I've tried that.
It's rocks.
excellent.
That is great.
So good.
Okay, more and more people are finding gluten intolerance or just finding it fits their lifestyle better. We have the gluten-free section.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go grab it. We grab it the Blanche. One things we're becoming quite well known for is our own brand of the blanched almond flour. It's one of the highly recommended. Here comes Remington.
Here comes Remington.
Yay.
Remington.
Okay.
Awesome name. He gets 20 cool points just for his parents naming him that. We don't really care what your personality's like. If you're named Remington, you've got to be cool.
He is cool. He is cool. Okay, this is our blanched almond flour. We have authors of gluten-free books that recommend it highly. We have doctors that know and recommend. The price, a lot of other manufacturers have a 1 pound for $9. This is 5 pound. It ranges around 25.
There you go.
So you've got
That's the
that.
value that we're talking about from Honeyville.
Great quality. This is the blanched almond. We also have the natural almond.
So that would be
So-
a flour substitute for gluten-sensitive folks.
But it also is just great in baking.
Or just good.
Yep, in general, it's great for things. But people with that gluten intolerance, this is highly recommended across the board.
Okay, so you have highly refined taste buds, Lisa. That's what I'm going to assume. So if you make a let's say I'm a really good chef, I make gluten-free product and a standard flour-based product. Can you tell the difference?
There are differences. Almond flour is different, but taste-wise, I would hold them up. We have gluten-free authors and teachers that come in and teach our classes that make amazing, amazing things for our class members. We have those recipes that we share all across. So
Excellent. And that's going to bring us to the kitchen.
Okay.
On the way, though, let's drop by and show them the egg product.
Okay, let's talk about our
because
eggs.
that is an interesting way for you to have protein in your food storage, and it stores for a long time. And you were telling me it's awesome.
A lot of people are used to egg powder. We've had egg powder around for a long time, and that's great for
They
incorporating.
used it in World War II.
You bet. You can incorporate those into baking, all kinds of things. Good to have on hand. But if I was cooking up scrambled eggs, you would know the difference. This is the Ova Easy brand. This is a dozen eggs right in there that's sealed in. It's perfect. It has a little scoop. Every scoop is 1 egg. So you add the water to that. I can put it, it's an orange color, just so you'll know. Egg yolks should be more orange. You look at the ones in the store, they're getting paler and paler all the time. But this is an orange color. You put it in your pan, don't touch it for a few minutes. You'll watch the orange start to separate from the white. You can make scrambled eggs or quiche or different things. All they do is take raw egg that's great quality. They shoot it up in the air with steam. They crystallize it. So it's a crystallized egg. This is egg whites. I can make a meringue out of that you would love. This is a can, our new private label. It's the Ova Easy Egg Crystals, but it's in a can now. It's $25. That is equivalent to 96 eggs right there.
Total deal.
They've done it for the
You
Army.
want a
so
protein that will store a long time, and it's good and yummy, and you eat it. Everyone eats eggs all the time.
Considered pasteurized. It can be put a scoop straight into your protein drink, your smoothie that you're making, anything that do. I have chickens in my backyard. I would take my chicken eggs over anything, anytime, but I would take this over store-bought eggs.
That's an egg option for you guys. Excellent.
So great thing to have on hand.
Okay, off to the kitchen. We're gonna wrap it up, I think, in a part 2.
All of our spread.
Again, TMPers, I want you to watch my Twitter account. Okay, because I'm gonna tweet the Honeyville deals that we have going on. I will do it, I don't know, every so often to remind you that's going on. Take advantage of it. We're gonna kick this video series off with a special. You'll see that in both annotation on my Twitter page, and take advantage of it. You know, a can, a case, buy whatever you can, and I say get your food stuff in order quick. You know, be self-sufficient. Something kicks off, natural disaster, economic disaster, you'll thank us. These are what we've been talking about.
Okay.
The crown jewel of the Lisa Guru experience. Talk to us.
Yeah. Okay, so for instance, we had you try our ham and cheese quiche. So in a quart-sized jar, that would feed 6 to 8 people. So we teach people how to do that. This is a vegetarian version, so there's no ham in this. I've increased the amount of zucchini, or if you're going vegetarian, you can always add 1/3 of a cup more freeze-dried zucchini.
Okay, hang on just one sec, because I want to make sure people are understanding what we're looking at. This is an entire meal. We did mention it throughout the store review, with dry ingredients measured according to your specific tastes. And Lisa, from what I've tried your stuff, you have good taste.
Thank you.
It's put in a bottle in this case. You can use plastic containers as well with an oxygen absorber pack. There's some freeze-dried ham. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at an entire meal. Basically something like the Mountain House, maybe some other varieties, but a lot cheaper and probably better.
Right.
Okay, pick it up to where you were then.
And then we teach people how to do this. For instance, this would feed your 2 to 3 people. So I have, there's...
No way. 2 to 3 people?
Yes. Quickly, easily, you could just bake this in a 9-inch pie pan. You could have that ready to go. This is for 6 to 8 people. Again, I do mine in a Pyrex. You could do it in whatever you're wanting. This is the mammoth size. We had a reunion, so I did a whole bunch of these that we could feed. We did these in Dutch ovens. And so this would feed about 12 to 15 people, depending on what you're doing. This is a baked ziti. So I've got my sausage in here. I've got noodles. I've got cheese. Everything ready to go with that. This is a version of Popeye's beans and rice. If you've had theirs, it's got the TVP in this one. It's got beans, it's got rice, different things, the flaked beans, we've got that. Teach people, we all want bread, so this is everything to make bread. I've even got a little packet up here in the top with my grains ready to soak. I've got everything in there with all my flour. I try and use these on a more regular basis, and so I use those within about 4 to 6 months. We rotate it. This is a chicken noodle soup, so I've got, you can see our chunks of chicken in there, our noodles, my vegetables, and then that sauce we were talking about, I have a little packet up in the top, so I can make this a creamy chicken noodle soup if I want, or I can just leave it as a base. I've got all the seasoning down in the bottom. We keep the fine filament things like your seasonings, your flours and things down in the bottom so that they don't come up into the top. So we do that. This is the book I was telling you about. This is Chef Tessa's handbook that's coming out. So that's the Honeyville book.
I can tell you right now, Lisa, people are going to be watching this and are like, I love it, I want to buy this. So perhaps in the future, we don't have it yet, bottled meals like you're talking about.
Right.
Maybe Honeyville could maybe one day move to that and to sell this according to proven, awesomely delicious recipes.
Well,
Would that rock or what?
That can rock. But again, we don't want you to buy our taste. We want you to do your taste.
Yeah.
So that's why we teach you. In Chef Tessa's book, she has her meals in a jar. And so she calls it the 52 method. There's her Thai black beans and spicy peanut
looks
sauce. Okay, we've got things like that. Italian white beans and olives, peppers, and pestos.
Let's take a look at this page real quick and we'll show them that that is using basically the materials and the food we just been showing you all along, right?
Right.
So we have white beans, dehydrated or perhaps freeze-dried onion. There's those bell peppers we talked about. Some seasoning here. Mixed olive.
Tapenade, which we have here.
Okay. Is that something I can store long term?
You bet.
Okay. So that's a
we've got things
food
like that.
storage meal, but you probably wouldn't know it's food storage when you eat it.
Yeah. And in
talking
an
about
emergency
taste
situation, you talk about gourmet. She does a lot of planning into that. This is her Yankee pot roast with mashed potatoes. And so everything's in there ready to go. You've got your gravy, everything takes 4 cups of water, your mashed potatoes with a little sour cream, little chive, different things that you can do with that. You can add that, and you have 3 cups of water to the mashed potatoes, so 7 cups of water, and I have a full pot roast dinner ready to go.
Have you eaten that before?
I serve it all the time.
Is it really just like this, made just like this? So where's that diced beef? I missed that. I saw the ground beef.
No, it's the red label right there on the end.
Okay, let's check that out just super quick. There it is, right there. $46 a can. Yeah, that's not cheap, but it is meat. All freeze-dried meat's going to be expensive. I've never seen it inexpensive.
It's cubes of roast beef, of beef dices. You could use the TVP if you wanted a cheaper version.
Yeah, how about taste-wise? Big difference between that TVP in this recipe?
Actually, the beef dices has a little bit more salty flavor with the processing that it goes with, but it's delicious, and so different things that go with that. Again, no MSG, very low sodium, things of that you can do.
Excellent.
So different options of what you have available to eat.
Okay, so this is Honeyville Foods. Lisa, the food storage guru. You know a lot.
Thank
You know a lot. I am impressed with your knowledge.
But we don't keep it a secret here.
No, and you give it
We are
away.
happy to share it with other people.
We're standing in their classroom right now. This is where they teach their classes, and they'll go through everything we've been talking about. And there's some stuff we haven't talked about. Last Friday, they had a thermal cooker class.
Thermal cooking is
Let's
the way
walk
to
down
go.
there super quick.
Okay.
Remember this kitchen though? This is our classroom. The seats, I have a feeling more seats will be needed after this
Go all the way
video
back.
comes out. If you're in the area of a Honeyville store, we'll go to their website and they'll list all their locations. Try to attend their classes.
The webpage always has our classes.
And they are free of charge. You'll learn a lot, and it's not just about cooking, it's about everything. Preparedness, you said you teach a sanitation class as well?
Every Saturday.
Excellent.
Last Saturday we had 80 people sitting in that class.
Perfect, and I think that's huge.
It is.
It's everyone forgets about it. Oh, I'm
Critical.
good. No, it's huge. You need to have
Critical.
it. This is a thermal cooker. Take it away,
Okay, so
Guru Lisa.
this is a 5.5 liter, and this is a 7 liter. It's probably my favorite. So what it is like a slow cooker without power. If you look, people even look for the extension cord on the back. There isn't one. So what it has a very heavy-duty thermal inside that's sealed and ready to go. You could hit that with a baseball bat. It would still work. A lot of the others have compressed air inside as part of theirs. This does not. But if that gets damaged anyway, it's useless. So you've wasted all your money. This has a really heavy-duty bottom on it. And so you heat this on your heat source, whether it's a small stove or your home stove. So I can start my roast in the bottom of this. I can start vegetables or things up in the top. It has a top one. Air is your enemy, so you want to fill that as much as possible. So if it's a meat item, you need to boil that. Typically is 4 minutes is your range to get this heated enough and to get your meat at the process. And then you just put everything in there together. You shut it up with the lid on there. And it's portable. I can either take it in my car with me, I can leave it on the counter. The other great option is it also stays cold. It will keep your items cold. So if I've got creamies and popsicles down in the bottom, and I put ice cubes in the top to keep that as a cold. We went to the park when it was 100 degrees outside. An hour or two later, I could open that and still have creamies and popsicles that weren't all melted. Or if you're doing something with an egg base or a mayonnaise base for a reunion, you could put it in here, seal it up, travel to your reunion, it would stay cold, ready to go. Or if it's New Year's Eve and you're doing eggnog, keep your eggnog in there. Just put a ladle next to it and ask your guests to keep the top shut. At midnight, it will still be cold eggnog. So hot and cold, portable, ready to go. That's what I took up. This is what I took up to Yellowstone that we had talked about.
Yeah, when
so
you
I could have
impressed
that ready to go.
your friends, you
My
showed up.
mother-in-law, yeah.
Yeah, your mother-in-law. You showed up with a hot and ready meal, and they're like, "Whoa, how did you put this together?" As a thermal cooker.
Right.
That you had in the back cooking. Actually, it's basically a cordless crock pot.
Right.
That
So-
will coast and cook that food for a long period of time.
Right. So in an emergency, in day to day, if I'm doing a stove or a roast for an evening meal and I start it and it's cooking it, it's ready to go. But in an emergency situation, you realize that if I put that on there and I have to bring it to a boil on my butane stove for that 4 minutes or 2 minutes if it's a vegetable, I can get 2 meals off of that. I could do the quiche, or the omelet in the morning in the baggie in that hot water, then add the soup. I got 2 meals off of 1 boil. Or if I'm making hot chocolate and I want to keep the water hot throughout the day, I can keep that in here. Just the utilization of that without having to use more fuel.
Yeah, stretching your energy out in both everyday life and in emergency situations.
Every day, we can use it every day. We can use it in those situations.
And currently you have a thermal cooking guru associated with the store. She did teach that class, which we talked about.
We either
Her
have
name
the
is
owners,
what?
we have the owners, Amy and Jack Lovelace, that come in and do our Saratoga Jack classes. We also have Cindy Miller, who is writing the cookbook. That should be coming out soon, and she comes, all 3 of them have come to teach classes. They're phenomenal.
I gotta wrap it up. I'm out of battery power. That's Mrs. Nutnfancy. Lisa, the food storage guru, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Come anytime. We'd be happy to see you.
There's no way in just 2 parts we can cover every aspect of food storage and preparedness. We've just kind of covered some of the bigger topics.
Okay. Come back and we'll put a meal together for you.
We'd like to do that. We'd like to come and cover your classes, teach our folks watching the Nutnfancy Project about all the cool stuff that you have a lot of knowledge of, and actually your associates to the store as well.
We're looking at putting a lot of our classes online. Hopefully in the next year, we'll be in 2013, we'll be looking at that. So watch for us.
Excellent. All right, this is the Nutnfancy Project, Honeyville Foods. If you're in the area of any Honeyville Foods, I highly recommend you drop by and check it out. Thanks for watching. See ya.